Good morning, everybody. It is early April here in Iowa. We've got about a week until our turkey season. So I'm going to do some turkey scouting today. It's been a goal of mine to self-film a turkey hunt. I'm a big turkey hunter. I love turkey hunting. I've been turkey hunting since I was a little kid, like 8 or 9 years old. And I've got a buddy that self-filmed some of his hunts, and I think it looks so cool. It would be awesome to do. So I'm going to try to do that this year. I'm gonna go scouting today because we only have a week. We got a week before season. Youth season opens this weekend, so anybody with young kids will be heading out. But I'm just scouting for the next couple days. We finally have a break in the weather. It's been super cold and windy lately, so it's been super hard to hear and find and locate turkeys, and their movements have just been off. It's been so cold. It's not typical spring weather where it's getting warm in the afternoons and staying somewhat warm overnight. It's been almost freezing or below freezing overnight and super windy. We finally don't have any wind, so we can finally hear. And there's a little bit of a high pressure system coming in, which should get them to gobble a little bit more than if there wasn't. So stay tuned. We are going to go drive around and try to find a turkey. Well, I don't know if you just heard that. I'm back at home. Um, One just gobbled, and I think they're back where they usually roost. I haven't seen them. There was a quail too. Holy cow! Big morning. I love listening to the woods and the nature wake up. But just to recap the morning, went to spot number one where I've seen a lot of turkeys kind of mid-morning, midday, afternoon, during the daylight hours. Years past, I've been scouting other properties around there. Well, this old farmer used to have some ground there. He sold it since, and I used to be able to hunt it. So I would scout that property. It wasn't very big, but I'd go out there once or twice before season and just see if there was anything close. And there was usually almost always turkeys on this guy's property that I'm hunting now. But I have not heard a single turkey out there. I've seen them, so I know they're there, they're close, but I just don't know if they're roosted. It's kind of a longer property. It goes a ways back from where I park at the gate entrance there. So I don't know if they're farther back in there and I just can't hear them or what, or if they're not even roosting there. They got to be somewhere close, I would imagine. So I stopped there first, before sunrise, and didn't hear a thing. So I decided to get out of there and go to the spot number 2. And I don't know if you heard it. I did get some audio, some great audio, a bunch of pheasants, some quail, and then there were a few gobbles, and I think I know where they're roosted. And if not, I should be able to get pretty close to them. It's just a creek bottom moving through there with a bunch of trees, so I should be able to get in vicinity of those birds pretty easily. And then I came back to spot number 2 after daylight, after the birds, or came back to spot number 1, after spot number 2, where I heard those birds. They didn't really start gobbling until about 6, a little after 6 o'clock. It was pretty light out before they started gobbling. So that's why I ran back to spot 1, because I figured, well, if the light's getting them going, maybe they're going at spot 1. Didn't see anything. Just watched a beautiful sunrise, and watched a huge line of deer feed through this hayfield and into the timber. But other than that, it was a pretty uneventful morning at spot number 1. But I came back here because I haven't seen a whole lot for birds back behind my place. Usually I try to hunt around my place. I don't have a whole lot of ground. If you watch the hornet video I posted earlier, you could kind of see I've got a little bit of timber, and they will roost in my timber. But I have not seen a lot of them consistently here. Usually I can see 30 birds in the winter, and coming into spring you'll see them roosting around here, but I have not seen a whole lot for birds roosting around here. But the last couple mornings I've seen a few hens, and just now I heard a gobble. I feel like there's a cat climbing on my car somewhere. But yeah, I just heard a gobble. Don't know if the GoPro would have picked it up or not. Oh, there is a cat on my car. Watch this. There she is. I was like, something is on my roof right now. And if you watch the Treasure in the Woods video that I'm currently editing right now, but I'll post it here probably later this week. Old Sassy makes a big appearance in that one. That's her debut on the channel. But no, pretty good morning this morning. I don't know if I got a few more mornings to scout, 3 or 4. I don't know if I'll bring the GoPro and monologue it, but I'll bring the big camera again and try to just get video and audio. And if anything big happens where I hear a lot of gobbles or pinpoint some birds, see them in a tree, maybe I'll hop on here and talk to you guys about it. But other than that, it should just be footage of me scouting, and then hopefully it'll be opening morning. Alright guys, it is the night before second season opener. I didn't go first season. Probably should have. The weather's been beautiful for the most part outside of a couple hailstorms. But lovely temperatures. Tomorrow actually I'm only going to have 2 or 3 hours to hunt in the morning. Then the wind's going to pick up and we're getting another system of rain and hail tomorrow afternoon. So I think about that 9-10 o'clock is going to be the cutoff tomorrow, and then it's supposed to get super cold, so that's why I've got 2 sets of everything. I've got a lightweight sweatshirt and long sleeve, a heavyweight sweatshirt and long sleeve, lightweight pants. Those are actually my deer hunting pants. They're a little bit heavier weight. So I'm gonna spray them all down with permethrin to hopefully keep the ticks off. I haven't really used this a whole lot. Let me know if you guys have used this and if it works. I'm gonna find out tomorrow. Supposedly ticks are really bad this year. I'm gonna do everything I can to prevent getting a tick bite. Alrighty guys, it is here. Morning number 1. We'll see how long we last out there today. Wind's supposed to really pick up mid-morning, which those turkey hunters know it can adds another layer of difficulty into your turkey hunting. And then it's supposed to rain this afternoon, and overnight tonight our temperatures are going to drop down. It's 60 degrees right now, but like the next three mornings are going to be like 30 degrees. But the pressure system is supposed to be pretty high, so I don't know how that's going to play into it. I think it'll be all right, but it's just going to be really cold these next few days compared to 60 degrees right now. You know, like I'm in a light sweater and light pant, or light long sleeve and light pants right now, but it's not going to be like that the next few days. So we're going to try to get a spot. I don't really know where I'm going. I know the general location, the farm I'm going to hunt. I just don't know where exactly I'm going to set up at this farm. Again, trying to sell film kind of adds another layer of difficulty because you got to hide a camera or cameras. I'm going to have a GoPro and my big camera. And I've got a big burlap sack that's like camo kind of. I'm going to try to put over the camera and wrap around it to hopefully break up all of the metal pieces that are showing. I did put some camo tape on it, but I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I'd need a really good tree or a setup to hide that camera. I'd like a cedar tree or a pine tree of some sort that I can really kind of tuck into, put that camera in, and really kind of disappear, rather than just being on a single, trunk of an oak tree or something like that. It'd be a little bit harder to hide. But I'm running a little bit late. I need to get going, so here we go. Alright, so we are at shooting light right now. I don't think I'm anywhere close to where these birds are at, which this was kind of a blind mission anyways. I knew the rough area. But I'll probably start calling here in a little bit. I can hear them gobbling. They're in the next ravine over. Probably about 300 yards, 400 yards. Hey guys, a little update. Everything moved down the valley when they pitched out of the trees, so I didn't really have anything working up here. I just stood up and used my slate call crystal and sent some calls down the valley, down the creek, and I think I got 2 responses. They were a ways away, but they hammered back both times. There is a group of jakes I've seen running this area too. There's about 5 of them. Kind of sounded like a jake gobble, so I'm a little worried. I'm gonna call in my 5 jakes right now. But I thought I heard drumming behind me early this morning. I'm on a big tree. I got some good cover up here to self-film behind. But there are some open spots back behind me that a tom could come and hang up and just sit there and drum, because it's pretty open. It looks like they clear cut a little bit of trees out of there, or some trees out of there. Because I'm pretty sure I heard drumming pretty early this morning before the neighbor came. All right, guys, update on day 1 of the second season of Iowa turkey hunting season. I don't know how I would say that. I always default to be less aggressive earlier in whatever season I'm hunting. If it's first season, second season, fourth season, by that time I'm usually pretty aggressive just because it's later in the year. And I'm more so, my tactics kind of change. I go less from decoys to more run and gun, maybe take 1 hen decoy with me. But I'm more run and gun, pack light, travel light, and it's more, I'm going to stay out there a while. This morning I set up, I knew I wasn't going to be right in the middle of the birds, but I thought I could at least work the 2 roosts that I knew were kind of in that area. But I think I was just too far away, and these birds had a plan. They wanted to get down into that big main creek bottom that these 2 smaller creeks run into, where both the roosts are. So they replied to me a few times, but they all went down to the big creek. I kind of figured that's what they were doing because I hadn't seen them up in those fields in the mornings lately. So I figured their routine was to just get down out of the trees, head down to that bottom. It's actually pretty open in there. I actually drove around the backside. It's on the neighbor's property, but it's where that big creek is. And I saw 2 toms. I don't know if I got much footage of them. By the time I got the camera up, they'd kind of moved off into a thicket, but they were sitting there strutting, red, white, and blue heads, 2 big old toms. And they were only probably about 400 yards. Well, I kind of did a loop around the property, but from the very northern edge of the property I'm hunting, this was probably about 400 yards from where these birds were. And I think definitely could have called them in. It's super windy today. I don't know if they would have heard me. If I would have stuck around, if I didn't have to get back and go to work, I took a half day today. But if I didn't have to get back and get to work, I'd actually probably go back out there, because I think they'll work their way back up that creek, back to kind of those fields, and those back secluded corners of those fields, and probably hang out, because there is less wind in there. And I think I could have called them up from there a little ways. Even if they stayed down that creek bottom, I think they could have heard me, and they were fired up. I think they would have come right up those creek draws into those fields. But I got a good plan for those. I'm not 100% sure. We're supposed to get some wicked storms tonight again. It's like our 5th one with hail and tornadoes and stuff that we're supposed to get tonight. So it was 60 degrees when I walked out the door this morning, and I think tomorrow morning, if and when I walk out the door, it's going to be below 30 degrees, 28, 29, 30 degrees. So there's going to be a 30-degree swing in weather, which is going to affect these birds, I think, a little, but hopefully not a lot. I think they're kind of in full swing right now of what they're doing. So I don't know. We'll see how it works out. I'll keep you guys updated. 10 yards from me. Walked right by the camera. I'll show you where they came. They came out on the other side of that second big tree right there. I heard them drumming the whole way. And they came out, made it to the decoys. Man, all my batteries were dying, so that's why there's not much footage. And I didn't know where they were at. They came from behind me in this thick stuff, and I knew they were close, if you could tell by the gobbles. So I didn't want to be moving my camera around and wasting any more, wasting any movement and or battery. Because I thought I had all my batteries charged, and I think it's just because of this cold weather. It was 30 degrees this morning. I mean, the one died. The one did fairly good for battery. And then I put another one in because the other one was starting to die, and that one was completely dead. Flipped it to another one. That one died in like 10 minutes, so I went back to my original one that was doing good. And I knew I didn't have much battery life left, so I didn't want to risk it. So I switched to the GoPro. I didn't want to be moving around a whole lot, so there's not a lot of good footage. But they came right into the decoys, so that's awesome. I think that's the two I saw down in the bottom the other day when I was scouting. Man, what a hunt. That's awesome. Let's go see what we got. Oh yeah, I shot him kind of in the back, more than I'd liked. Oh yeah, look at those hooks. Oh yeah, look at those hooks. Man alive, he was pretty there strutting, wasn't he? He got worked up. Not much for a beard. Looks like he got some rot, maybe. But man, what a pretty bird. What a pretty bird. I don't know if you can tell. I'll bring the camera out here, but I was sitting in that tree right there. I don't know if you can see the camera right in there. But a pretty good setup. Yeah, and they came out right on that side of the tree. There's my wad. My wad hit him. But this is a setup I like to do earlier in the year. Jake decoy, breeder hen, and then put another hen off about 10 yards. I've had really good luck with that. Man alive. What a pretty bird. What a pretty bird. Big old spurs on him. Beautiful fan. He put on a show for us too. Oh, that's awesome. You can't beat mornings like this, man. It was cold. Oh, blood on there. A little turkey blood on there. Man, it was super cold this morning too, like below 30. All randomly, it was beautiful for first season, minus the hailstorms. But it got cold last night, or 2 nights ago. And this morning was, brutal. Brutally cold, but they were fired up, if you couldn't tell. It's a high pressure system. I think that has a lot to do with it. I've noticed deer hunting and turkey hunting, when if you can get in, it doesn't really matter the temperature. If that's a high pressure system, temperature helps. But if the pressure system's high, they're usually fired up and ready to go. And this whole weekend was supposed to be a high pressure system, so man, I don't know where they went. I think these were the two that were over the hill gobbling. I don't know if they had a hen or what, but they did not want to come down this field. And that's part of the reason why my batteries died so quick, is because I thought these two would come down the hill. They'd kind of work their way up the hill, it sounded like. And I'd start thinking I'd gonna see tail fans or a head pop over. And then they'd go back down the hill, and then they come back up. And then all of a sudden they were all the way either in the bottom or on the other field on the other side of this valley. And I thought, I'm like, oh man, it's going to be 9:30 before I get a bird now. And it kind of died off about 7 o'clock, and then 7:30.
I could tell there was they started gobbling again, like they were losing hens. There was 3 or 4 or 5 gobblers over here. And I hit the calls really hard. I had been calling. I had one strapped to my leg here. I got that Primos call. I'll show you guys at the end of this video. I had it strapped to my leg. And that's what I'd been using all day, and I don't know if they could hear it or not. So I got my other Rick Haney calls slate call out, and I lifted it up above my head and just started going to town with it. And they gobbled back, and I waited, stopped calling, waited just briefly, 2 minutes, hit it hard again, started calling again. I could tell they had moved their way down that opposite field on the other side of this timber. So I knew they were getting somewhat close. Waited another 2 minutes, hit it hard again above my head to really get that sound out there, and I could tell they dropped down into this bottom on the other side. So that's kind of when I shut up. I knew they were coming. They were looking for me. And sure enough, I could hear them gobble all the way down the bottom, all the way up. And then that last time I called to them, it sounded like they were kind of stalled in the bottom, but I didn't know there was 2 of them. There might have actually been a third one down in there too. He sounded like he was more down this way, where these 2, because he was gobbling, and that's who I thought I was calling to, or hearing walking back here. And I thought, oh shoot, he's heading back down into the creek bottom. He's heading out of here. So I started calling to him again. Well, then these 2 gobbled over here really close, and I that's when I flipped the camera on and put the safety off the gun, because I knew they were coming. Because then all of a sudden, once they gobbled, I just heard drumming. It was just boom, boom, boom. And I hope the camera got it up. He was drumming right around this decoy before I shot him too. But that's awesome. I am going to get picked up. I got a lot of crap. I made a little fort over there. So I'm going to get picked up. I'm going to get a picture with this bird and head home, man. This is awesome. What a day. Man, this doesn't get old. I love it. I love it. Always got to grab your shot shell. This is an old one. I've had these for a while. Whew, can't beat that. Gunpowder in the morning. Beautiful spring morning. Minus the cold. But the cloud cover is just starting to move in. I was a little worried about that. If you notice in the camera, it was coming right in at me. I would have loved to have been on that side, had the sun at my back, but there's just such a big dip right there. I couldn't set up there. But it worked out. That's why I knew if they could see the decoys, their attention would be on that decoy and not me. That other Tom, I think, saw me moving around. I was trying to get the camera situated. And I tried calling, and if you could tell, I couldn't get my slate call to catch and do some fighting purrs. I was trying to get them worked up to start attacking the decoy more, and they just weren't doing it. And then I tried getting him to lift his head, and he wasn't doing that either. So I just tried to wait for him and shoot him without shooting my decoy. So worked out. But man, first turkey hunt, self-filmed. My first self-filmed turkey hunt, I should say. I've been turkey hunting a while. But first self-filmed turkey hunt, man, this was awesome. I'm stoked. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I've been having a lot of cool memories out here with either by myself or with buddies. I'm like, man, if I could just start videotaping them to kind of, you always go back and relive those memories, man. And I wish I could have got more footage of today. Like when they stepped out, I mean, I'm not kidding, guys. They were right on that tree, and they hooked right around and came right here. And I thought, I grabbed this tarp thing. I've got a better like ghillie kind of suit blanket thing coming, but it's in the mail. It hasn't gotten here yet. So I grabbed this out of my shop. It's been sitting there for a while. Cut a hole in it. It's super heavy. Like sometimes I really have to crank on the camera to get it turned around because it catches on something. But I thought they'd see that and spook, but they didn't. Or I thought they'd see this boom mic or whatever this is called, dead cat. I think it is called a dead cat. And they'd spook, but they didn't. They walked. I think that second one was on him. That first one came out and he beelined it right over. And that second one kind of held up right here and acted like he had seen me or seen something he didn't like. And he kind of acted like that all the way up to the decoy. And then when I started trying to call at him, that other Tom was like, yeah, dude, I'm getting out of here. And I think the other Tom's beard was a little nicer, but this one was putting on the show. That's the one. That's the one I was taking. I'm gonna get a picture with this bird and head home, man. This is awesome. What a day. Off we go.